Birds of Prey, issue 23, legacy number 221, Kelly Thompson writing with Sami Basri on the art. So, we had the big cliffhanger last time with the headquarters blowing up, and the first like half of this issue, or maybe first third, is basically Cass, Dinah, and Sin.
Yeah. Megara.
And yeah, obviously Megara's in there as well. They're basically like, oh shit, like, did we just watch Cass die? And Dinah's like, look, there's protocol for this. If our home base is ever attacked, we split up, we go our own ways, and then meet up later at a predetermined location. That's what the protocols are. That's what Barbara came up with. So, and I didn't listen to her earlier, and we get into a fight. So let's listen to her now. So we get this cool little set of pages here where they do split up, and they look kind of sad. And we see Cass like switch into her civvies and go eat some food. And it's just kind of this sad little time. And she sees like two friends outside. One of them saying, "Oh no, you promised." And she's like, "No, come on, it'll be fun." And clearly it's making her sad because she's missing her friend. Yeah, you see Sin go to an arcade and play some racing games, and Megara tries to comfort her. So that relationship's oddly getting a little bit sweeter as time goes on.
I like how it goes that it's her reflection talking to her in the dark screen of the video game. I thought that was a real nice touch. Yeah,
no, it's a nice touch. And then Dinah's at a bar, shooing away a guy who's trying to talk to her. But,
walk away before you go through that plate glass window. Oh, man, that's great.
So they all meet up at an alleyway, and they're like, okay, let's go to the new safe house. And they go into the sewers, they go into like a big vault door, only to find that Babs is already there with Sela, right? So she's fine, she was always fine, but we just, I thought it was a really nice thing, because it wasn't like malicious, or not malicious, that's not the word. It wasn't manipulative, is what I'm trying to say. Because ultimately we are worried about Babs with the characters as they're worried about her. So we get this sense of relief, but it does make sense that, oh no, Babs got rid of the base and blew it up herself because, frankly, the villains were coming and there's so much sensitive material in all of our computers about all the heroes in the world that we cannot risk them getting that. So this was just, again, she was following protocol. So you get this
protocol. It's the number one.
Yeah, you get this big, great moment where Dinah and Sin hug her, then Cass comes in, and we get this kind of like, really nice four-way hug happening. Everyone's like relieved that Babs is okay. So it's just a really heartwarming moment, and then we get into kind of the business of the rest of the book, which is obviously, okay, who are these villains? What are they doing? They were able to get the drop on us, and they kind of freaked us all out. What do we do to fight back? What are the advantages we have? And Babs kind of comes up with the idea that, look, these people are working together, but they probably don't make a very good team. They probably don't like that they have a leader, and that's something we can hopefully exploit. It seems like all the members have been picked to like take on each of us individually. Like, this one's a good fighter, so she's good. She's like maybe a match for Cass. To which Cass is like, hey,
yeah,
like, we'll see. Copperhead's good against Dinah because the Sonics don't work on him as much, and the other one, the Golden Lion, what was his name? Could maybe try and separate Megara from Sin. So they're like, okay, so we've got all this, but what do we do? And it's like, well, we still have the problem of Barda being controlled. We've got a name. We figured out the villain's called Ink that's controlling her. And they're like, yeah, but we saw it separate for a second, and we saw Barda inside. So if we can overwhelm her enough, we might be able to get through. Let's come up with a plan. So, I mean, this was a good sort of scene of the book, I thought, because it was like a really nice, like, we're spending most of this arc like teasing out who these villains are and what they're doing. This was actually like a very nice like recap where all of our main characters kind of summarize, okay, this is who they are, this is what they can do, and this is how they've been effective so far. It was really nice just in case that, if the audience or the readers hadn't put it together at this point, like who some of these characters are or what they were doing. This was a nice sort of laying it out on the table, right? So that as we're going into the final phase of the arc, we can kind of like all understand the score and what the risks are, what the dangers are, and kind of keep everyone sort of up to speed. So I really like that. And then, of course, they're like, okay, we're going to track them down because of the signals coming off of the hacker or whoever it is. Like, it's easy to track them. So they go and ambush them. we get a bit of fighting. They try and take on Barda, consumed by ink. Magira tries fighting her, Cass tries fighting her, but there's a little moment here where Dinah like supersonics like a little window of sound into the face of Barda, just so that Barda's real eye can see through and see that she's strangling Cass, and immediately drops her. Immediately goes back to being villainous, but it's this idea that if like Barda can see out into the world, like she can kind of try and regain a little bit of control back. So that was a fun moment, I thought.
I also like that in the narration that Dinah's doing, it says Barda told me that she has more trouble with bladed weapons than blunt force, and that's why it inspires her to do like the little, what is she called, the laser-like Sonic, But she also adds, and by trouble I mean it slightly bothers her more. So like it's this thing like her knowledge of Barda, because they've talked, right, and they're these teammates. She uses that to kind of get the edge here, just break through ink just a little bit, but it costs Dinah because she's the one. Cass gets dropped, but then Dinah gets knocked down, by Ink Barda. But yeah, I just like that whole sequence. It was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as well, looking back at the issue, that like pretty much everything's in dark locations, whether it's alleyways, the safe house in the sewers, or it's just nighttime outside. Everything's kind of like bathed in darkness, even the happier moments when the characters are reunited. But you get to this villain's lair in the last like scene, and everything's very bright. It's all bright, like white. It's almost like pastel pinks and blues that are in the background. And I think one reason for that is that it really makes Barda, like covered in ink, stand out, because she's just this sort of pitch black character right now. But I think part of it also might be this sense of hope that we're fighting back. And then the final page kind of goes back to a black background, and the final page is the reveal that Dinah's called in the reserves. So it's like, okay, you predicted you'd be fighting these 5 Birds of Prey team members, but you didn't predict the rest of them, which is Harley, Sela's here with was it Pose, the creature that can turn into the dragon looking thing.
Yeah, but now it's a Chinese looking dragon. Before it was a wolf. You have Vixen, you have Grace, I'm forgetting the other girl, and then Constantine. So it's everyone that's had a mission with them thus far, which I really liked. Yeah,
it's everyone who's been in one of the arcs of this run. Yeah, is showing up to help here.
Yeah, her name's Onyx. So
I would never in a million years have told you that it was Onyx.
Yep. So, but yeah, I like that, and just the idea too that they needed to have some shadows so Sela could use her power to come through. So also in contrast to all that brightness, it was almost like they were trying to counteract that, but the birds found a way regardless. So
yeah, because the panels in the page before that final page are them smashing some of the lights to make a bigger shadow.
Yeah,
because when they first get teleported in near the villain's lair, they complain that, oh wait, this was a really cramped like entrance, and it's because they're in like a closet, and it's because this was the only place with shadows. So yeah, it does seem like, I mean, whether or not they knew they were counteracting Sela's powers or not, maybe they did. And there's even that interesting little quirk as well, where 2 of these characters, right, Golden Lion and the other one, whose name I can't remember,
Velvet Tiger,
thank you, which is confusing now that we've got a Jade Tiger along with the Bronze Tiger in the other book, but whatever. Like, that's the parents of Sela, and like, the whole thing in the future about, the mother dying, that's what leads to all that plot that we got about the other, dimension that the sister created. All that stuff. She says to Dinah, hey, could you try and not kill them, because otherwise I won't be born? And she's like, yeah. And then Dinah's like, wait, this is a concern. Like, because she exists, does that mean we lose, or does it just mean that we incapacitate them, and therefore, like, we win the fight and we save the day here, but they're still around to have kids later? Like, that's something that's going into Dinah's mind as she's getting into this fight, which I like. I think that's one of the things that I appreciated about some of this stuff in the back half of this issue, is that it really felt not just the literal bringing back the other team members in the last page, which is kind of the ultimate like version of it, but it felt like a lot of the stuff in the previous arcs was coming up as we were going through this issue, where it was like, okay, we're bringing up Sela's whole family line thing that we were doing a whole arc back in the second arc of the book. Obviously, all the Madeira Sin stuff is what the first arc was all focusing on. And it feels like just all these things are still very relevant, and it makes it feel like a really well thought out comic book run, where it feels like Kelly Thompson's not just doing arc by arc and just coming up with new ideas. It feels like there's a whole, like she's making
Story.
a TV show where she's like, no, there's like there's a ongoing narrative that's kind of like coming in where all these arcs matter as we go forward, and we're it's important, and it's making it very satisfying to have read the run from the start, because they're not just all individual stories that stick out on their own, which I appreciate. I like that in a comic book run. So
yeah, this is weirdly what Gail Simone's Secret Six felt like, where at the beginning you're just like, oh, there's a ragtag group of characters thrown together, but by the third arc, they're fully a team, and there's, interpersonal dynamics and characters that pop in and out, where it feels like this, like, again, like a team book. And I feel like here, sometimes the danger of the Birds of Prey book, it becomes Babs and Dinah plus whoever else, and here, no, it really feels like this is the team, right? There's the interpersonal dynamics between them all, just like the stuff with Cass and Barda, right? And that's what Dinah uses to, get a leg up. So some really expert storytelling from Kelly Thompson here.
Yeah.
Going forward. And I just hope like this keeps going, right? Because it almost, to me, it also feels like we're rounding a corner. We're entering like an end game kind of thing. And I just hope this goes as long as she needs it to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you'll still be getting Solicited up until at least September, right? So we've got at least another arc after this, but I hope so too. I hope this goes to a nice 50+ issues or whatever we can maybe get to. But we're already in the 20s now, so that's nice. It's still feeling fairly healthy at its current. I mean, it seems like we're going to get at least to 30 issues at this point, and that's cool. It's cool that we're going to get to at least that point, and if we get a little bit further than that, then that'll be cool too. So, but it does really feel like all the previous arcs are mattering here, and they're like things from them are popping up in these different ways. And like you said, using the relationship between Cass and Barda as an actual narrative, like emotional focal point of like, Cass try and talk to her and bring her back from the brink. It's kind of sweet, and it pays off in the fact that she's done a really good job, Thompson, that is, of building that relationship since the very first arc, so that now when one of them's in jeopardy and we're trying to have the other one save them or talk them down from something, it has a lot of weight to it, and that's kind of the point we're at now, where we care about all this stuff. So very good. And I really like that first chunk as well, where they're all worried about Babs. I like the tone. It felt like everything slowed down for a second and we got a chance to breathe, which was really nice in the context of the whole arc. So yeah, really nice. What are you giving Birds of Prey, Matt?
I'm at 9.
Oh, I feel like I'm going with 8.5, but 8.5.